Hey everybody, this is Jim Grisanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and I'm back for some more interviews here for the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra that is taking place right now. And I'm here tonight with Zahid Anwar. Zahid, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's good to have you. Actually, I've been reaching out to speakers on the tour. Actually, it's not a tour. Well, it's India Yatra. It actually means journey, but it's usually a physical tour of various
Sure.
India tech centers. Obviously now it's all online. And I think there's many more speakers this year because it is online. So I reached out to like 2/3 of the speakers, right? And most of them responded, actually to do interviews. So I've been swamped here trying to get everybody in. And but this is a good thing because I've been meeting new people, and that's really great. So some people are doing one talk, some people are doing two talks, but I see you're doing two talks. So I
Right.
definitely want to have a conversation about the topics that you're talking about. But before we get to that, give me a little bit of sense of who you are and what you do.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm a principal consultant here at version one within the advisory services. So I'm tech pre-sales. So we support the sales function practice. So we use our deep expertise, experiences to help with engagements. We also spearhead delivery and then hand off to the delivery practice. So I've been predominantly a DBA now for 15 years. I'm an Oracle certified master as well as an Oracle ACE.
Cool. Okay. And you're in the UK, you said?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
Manchester, UK.
Manchester. Oh, you see, now I
Yeah,
have been to Manchester, but just not for this job. I've been to
right,
Manchester because we had a team in my previous job in
right.
Manchester. So I've been to Manchester a few times. And I always wanted to go over to Liverpool, because that's obviously a better place, but I never had time. Um, okay, so let's talk about what you're talking about. Two talks here. So database standard edition, cloud migration success stories. So let's
Yes.
start there. What's that about?
Okay, so that's me talking about two customer success stories. So one being Cambridge University Press. So I talk about their Linux on-premise rack cluster going to AWS in a single instance fashion. And then the other customer is Dubai's Aerospace Engineering. They've got on-premise Windows and that got migrated to Microsoft Azure. So I'll talk about how the migration is done, how to do successful migrations, all of that sort of stuff. So it's this Friday. So if you've got time, please do attend.
Okay, so that one you're doing this Friday. Okay.
Correct.
So so what's involved in a migration? I hear sometimes it's depending on size and complexity, but sometimes it goes okay. Sometimes they're horror stories. I've also heard about. How do you approach a migration?
Yeah, good question. You have to look at it holistically. So you need to look at the application, the database, end-to-end integrations. You need to understand the customer's requirements. You need to understand license implication, which I talk about in my presentation. Need to do capacity planning. So you need to understand IOPS, CPU, resource usage, the workload. Once you've done that full assessment, then you can make the assessment of where it needs to go in the cloud, do appropriate sizing of an instance, then right size it later on, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there is a lot of detail that goes into it to make it successful.
So some of the migrations that you've been involved with, how many people would have to be involved with them?
Yeah, good question again. It depends. It depends on the size and complexity. These two are actually, because they're standard edition, not enterprise edition, they're relatively smaller systems, but still obviously very important, critical to the customer. So from a DBA perspective, just required one person. However, you still need to engage with the business owners, different parts of infra. So that could be like networking, storage, be it on both sides, so our side and the customer. And yeah, so it can involve quite a lot. But then you have very large factory type migrations where you could be tens of DBAs or consultants, and then you're engaging with larger parts of the organization from a again networking, infra, then governance, security. That's quite important. So yeah, it can vary from a few people to in the tens.
And so presumably the time scales would vary dramatically as well.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on the complexity, and generally integrations dictates how long it's going to take. But they can vary from typically a month or so to 6 months, even 12 months.
Wow.
The very large ones, yeah. And it depends how thoroughly and how critical it is. So if it's very critical, then you expect to do dry runs, dress rehearsals, all that sort of stuff, just to make sure that the actual go live goes as smoothly as possible.
Interesting. Okay. And your other talk is about Exadata. What's up with
Yes.
Exadata these days?
So it's about Exadata Hybrid Columnar Compression. What's it all about? So it's a special feature within Exadata. So it's exclusive to Exadata, as well as some other storage systems that Oracle have. So that would be the Pillar Axiom and the ZFS appliance. But largely it's about the Exadata. So it's about hybrid columnar compression. So data conventionally is stored in raw format in a database. It takes X amount of space. In terms of compression, you don't get that great yield from compression. However, if you pivot the data into columnar format, then you can get much more higher compression ratio, because obviously you put the commonality together. However, if you do pure columnar format, there is disadvantages of that. So hybrid columnar compression is about the best of both worlds. So you pivot on a logical structure, which is called a compression unit, and therefore you can get still good row lookups, but you can still get the good compression ratio that you generally get when you do columnar format. So yeah, I go through the availability of it, the suitability of it. I go through a test case, show that in the presentation. Then I show a customer success story of one of our customers, how we managed to do good compression using Exadata hybrid columnar compression.
Interesting. You mentioned ZFS. I used to be its son on the
Yes.
Open Solaris project. So it's good to hear ZFS.
Yeah. Exadata predominantly from the hardware point of view comes from Sun. Initially it was HP, but then after year one, then it became the Oracle Sun Exadata machine. So
Right.
Sun hardware, Oracle software,
Right.
Raw hardware, or smart software.
Okay, cool. Now you mentioned earlier on when you were you going over your background that you're an Oracle ACE, and
Yes.
I talked to a lot of ACEs, and there's from what I know about 400 or so ACEs around the world, and I know for a fact that Oracle is actively trying to grow that community.
Sure.
And just so you know, it's like one of our areas of growth, potential growth is India,
Yes.
because not only there's a lot of developers there, a lot of DBAs there, just a lot of technical people there generally, but relatively few ACEs in India compared to other regions in the world. So we have a lot of opportunity to grow that community in India. So if you're like, based on your experience in the program, can you tell me a little bit about what you've experienced, how you got involved, what are the things that you do? Because I'm particularly interested for the Indian community, since you're presenting at this conference, to hear specific stories about this program from the people like yourself who were inside.
Yeah, sure. So I became an Oracle ACE back in 2018. The story behind it is I became an Oracle Certified Master back in 2014. After that, I wanted to become an Oracle ACE. I was at Oracle Open World 2015. I met Tim Hall, who most people know as oraclebase.com. Really nice guy. We had a chat about the Oracle ACE program. He's a very big ambassador of it. He was giving me tips and tricks of how to do it. So after that, it took me whole of 2016 to get my brand and my kind of platform sorted, social media. And then come 2017, I started blogging in addition to my presentations that I've been doing since 2015. So all of 2017, I did blogging, presenting. Come towards the end of the 2017, I applied to become an Oracle ACE with the support of Tim Hall. Then come 2018, I continued to obviously do my contribution, and then also Kieran Taylor, who's also a ACE director, he also nominated me, and then I was awarded the Oracle ACE in mid 2018, which I was really happy to receive. Makes it really satisfying because at the end of the day, giving back to the community, sharing your knowledge, and then being able to be recognized for it is a big thing, and that's predominantly why I've done it. It's just to be able to give back to the community and share my insights, share my experiences, be it through presenting, be it through blogging, be it through talking to people at events. And actually, it's good you mentioned the Indian community because my blog post actually, or my whole blog as such, my biggest following is from the Indian community,
Right.
closely followed by America and then UK and the rest of the world. But yeah, I have good, strong following from India from a perspective of my blog view posts as well as my Facebook is predominantly Indian as well. So what I would say to the Indian community is don't be shy, go out there, do presenting, do blog posts, and whatever small or big that topic is, it'll be useful for someone else. So it's good to share insight there. Try and get onto the ACE program as a Oracle ACE associate, and then develop that further into becoming Oracle ACE. And then if you can push the boat out, then do more contributions and then become an Oracle ACE director. Which at the moment I'm not particularly thinking about, but maybe in the future I will try and get to Oracle ACE director level.
So it was a bit of a process then. You met some people, you had some
Yeah,
discussions, they advised you, sort of, counseled you what you should do.
yeah.
You were already doing some of those things. You added some things. You started blogging more, communicating more, going to conferences. And then you mentioned nominations. How many nominations do you need?
Um, when it comes to ACE program, you can actually self-nominate. So you can actually go to the website, self-nominate yourself. You put all your contributions in there. It's a point system, and then based on the level of points you get, then you can either become an ACE associate, or you can become a Oracle ACE or an ACE director. However, for ACE director, you do need to have support from product management within Oracle and support from other ACE directors. So only for the top tier, you need to have nominations. For the ACE associate and ACE, you don't explicitly need to have nominations, although it does hold weight if they do nominate you. So I had Tim and Kirit, which obviously helped me be able to get into a program. And consequently, I now nominate other people that I see are really good in the community and should be recognized, and encourage them to apply and then also to contribute more to the community.
Yeah, that's good to hear because there's a real desire to grow it, to grow the community. And it's also good to hear that it's not just one way. It's not just say Oracle choosing you.
No,
It's really the community is sort of self-reinforcing. It's a relationship with Oracle, but it's also a relationship that you have with the other community members. So,
exactly, yes. It's more a recognition program. It's recognizing who gives back to the community, be it through many avenues, presenting, blogging, writing books, coming on the Yatra tour, for example, and various other things.
right. So you've done some community work in the UK as well, right?
Yes, that's right. So I work a lot in the UK space, so the UK OUG. So I'm quite prolific in that area. So I volunteer a lot. So I'm a project lead for TechFest, not TechFest, sorry, Tech Summits. So the smaller events that we have throughout the UK. So we have a Northern and Southern. But then I'm also on the committee for TechFest, which is our annual flagship conference. So yeah, I'm quite in the UK area.
Cool, cool. Well, and it seems like, you have the community seems to be a definite part of your experience, not only with the UK user group, but also with the globalness of the ACE program. You know,
Sure.
so it seems like the being a member of the community is an important part of how you get your job done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always good to give back what we call within version 1 thought leadership. So, we present, we share our experiences, we share our deep expertise, and in return, obviously we're closer to the community, and as a side byproduct, obviously we can get some business from it as well.
Right, right. Okay, cool. Cool story. Very good, Zahid. Very good to meet you. And hopefully we can meet again, actually physically,
Yes,
sometime.
hopefully. Yeah, that'd be
Sometimes it's
great.
not, sometimes it's not, any place except for the house, so, so anyway, thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're presenting at the conference. I think the other developers and DBAs will get a lot out of it. So we'll talk to
Yeah.
you again sometime soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye now.